A few weeks ago, I reviewed an anthology series called Soul City that premiered on the Topic streaming service. I got a chance to talk to the directors of the series, Coodie and Chike, a little bit about the origins of the series, as well as if they have any further ideas and how they went about exploring these ideas. And I hope you enjoy that interview. Thank you very much. When did you first come on to Soul City as directors?
Well, this is Coodie talking. Was Soul City was really like a few ideas that we had that came from Chike. Chike head. Like he dreamed about pillow shop, woke up with a dream about somebody killing in their sleep through a pillow, and we just started banging out that idea, and and then just, we like real spiritual people. So like just everything happened the way it's supposed to happen for us to get to this moment right now to have a short series on topic. So Chike, you can explain the other two.
Yeah, so we've been sitting on these stories. We've expressed these stories in different ways, but never thought about them together. And then we had the pleasure of meeting Audrey Rosenberg at a conference at HBO, and developed a relationship with her. And a few years so after meeting her, she came to us. Her and Jess Jacobs, they had started a production company, Invisible Pictures, and they came to us with the opportunity to walk us into topics. And we're like, do you guys have any episodic stuff that we can pitch to them? And so then collectively we came up with this idea of taking these stories that we already had and putting them into this anthology and finding a through line, a way that they can make sense and work. And so it really was Audrey and Jess wanting to work with us and then believing in us enough to utilize their relationship and walking us in there, and Mona Panchal at Topics really loving what we pitched to her and championing us through Topic as they're embarking on a new version of because they weren't VOD at the time, so this was one of the projects to launch their VOD service.
Yeah, and then too also, so just everything happened for a reason, and the fact of us being music video directors first, and then we started doing documentaries second. So we became music video directors, then we became documentary directors. But we have a screenplay that we've been working on called Southside, based off of the 30 for 30 Benji that we did, that we've been trying to get off the ground, and also other projects that came in, scripted narratives that would come in to us. We would never get the project because we was considered first-time directors. So at the same time, when we meet Audrey, we trying to figure out how we can, raise money or do something so we can do our own short, so we can prove that we can do this. It's feel like we just feel like we're storytellers. We're not, we directors, of course, but we storytellers. So even in our music videos, we tell stories. In our docs, we tell stories. So, we just needed that to prove who we were, and this God just aligned everything for us to be able to do that. And thank God for Jess and Audrey and Topic for giving us the opportunity.
I think the setting of New Orleans is such an important part of each of these stories. Was that something that was a part of these stories from the beginning, or was it something that just evolved out of considering these stories once you were in a position to be able to tell them?
Yeah, it definitely was. Once we're in a position where we could tell them, that's when we factored. Like Pillow Shop wasn't written initially to be told in New Orleans. But Give Man and Grace were always contained in New Orleans. So I guess it's a combination of the two. Mm-hmm. But had we had an experience somewhere else, we would have ended up. Give Man, we wouldn't have, because it was very specific to New Orleans and New Orleans culture. Mm-hmm. But and Grace as well. But Pillow Shop at once was set in the dreams took place in a villa in Italy, and so it was a much bigger concept. Yeah, I wouldn't say a bigger concept, but I just say it was expanded to be, global.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Chike, was born and raised New Orleans, and I'm born and raised Chicago, so we always been looking to tell stories from the city that we were born and raised in, and it's, these are the things that Chike was looking forward to telling.
Yeah. It's like a goal of ours. It's kind of like how Mark Wahlberg does for Boston, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And we love to do those same things in our city. There's just so many amazing, growing up where I grew up in New Orleans, I saw these stories from off the porch. So it's like, and these are stories that when I do see how New Orleans is represented in the mainstream, they never show this side of New Orleans. I mean, you hear about Mardi Gras, but you really have no idea the root behind Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. And if you did, you would look at Mardi Gras completely different. Not saying you still might not enjoy it. You still would probably enjoy it because it's a fun time, but it's one of the most fun, disturbing things ever. Like that. If you really knew. You know what I'm saying? So being able to expose these sort of stories, not to take away from anything, but it's just good to know what you're celebrating. It's good to know the customs behind these things so that you can, when you do decide to participate in it, you're not ignorant to what you're participating in.
Mm-hmm. Was there any particular genre influences that you took in when it came to coming up with deep developing these stories further? This definitely felt like very much in the same vein of Twilight Zone to me, but were there any other genre inspirations?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Amazing stories for sure. Mixed with Twilight Zone. One of the things that we love about Amazing Stories is sort of it's a different type of horror. It's not necessarily a make you have bad dreams horror. Mm-hmm. It's psychological. It's the type of thing that's gonna leave you with like a moral nugget, a lesson. Yeah. Your protagonist is faced with a dilemma, and out of that he either is gonna learn or not learn, but the audience can take away something from it that they maybe can add to their life. So that's what was very interesting, And obviously, music. We looked at so much stuff for reference. Twilight Zone, the black and white on Grace, and the shots within the cinematography was heavily inspired by Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. And although we had the concepts, a lot of the concepts before Get Out, Jordan Peele, but Jordan Peele definitely opened the door for this to happen, him and just definitely for our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you guys have
and even dig into black cinema, like even understanding? Look at it. There's been black horror films such as Ganja and Hess in the past, and really doing a deep dive to just understanding the history of black horror, and it's been so. And there's a huge if you really look at that, it's like from a psychological way, it's only beginning. Like black horror is just really taking off. There's so many reasons why it hasn't, but it's a beautiful time right now for it to be able to express stories from black culture, just because just the way that we got here was pretty horrific. You know what I mean? So, and I think the lack of therapy that we've gotten within our culture. We're not a culture that goes to therapy and does stuff, But now these things are rearing its head because we're dealing with a lot of post-traumatic disorders and stuff within the community. So I think being able to feel comfortable now, it's like a certain vulnerability that you have to even be able to express your stories within the genre. It's okay to watch this genre expressed within other cultures, but now when you want to expose your own sort of darkness within your own culture, that's a vulnerable place to be in. So I think we're just getting there now to be able to feel comfortable expressing some of these things. And some of it is therapeutic as well, because some of the stuff are cycles that need to be broken within the culture, but you can't break those cycles if you don't even know they exist.
Mm-hmm. Once you started filming these stories, were there any particular challenges that came up in realizing the visions that you guys had for it?
Job budget. You always get this. You just have your wish list of where you want to shoot, what you want to shoot, scenes that you want to shoot. So I think that's going to be, and that's just filmmaking in general. So we were constrained a lot through the budget to be able to probably execute it at all the way through, but we were able to. Although we had to compromise, we were still happy when we were able to, substitute or. But yeah,
or just to have like one day to shoot an entire something that would take 4 or 5 days. We had one day to shoot, so we were really glad that they had time to really think. We had to just move.
Yeah.
And the thing about it in filmmaking is we can talk to you about this in retrospect, but at the end of the day, your viewer, one, doesn't care about that, and two, they don't know that. So they just see the finished product. They have no clue to what your budget was and what you went, and they don't care. At the end of the day, they just want to see a good story, And I get it, yeah.
Do you guys have any further stories that you guys are interested in telling within this genre and within this series going forward?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've developed Soul City out to be franchised. So, those 3 episodes we look at as just a pilot for what we want to do. We would love to express them as longer episodes with them entire seasons, and the entire season take place in different cities, starting in New Orleans and then going to Chicago, then moving over to Detroit, LA, and then maybe globally. But so there's a bigger play for this Soul City, and hopefully we can do it over at topics if the response is warranted.
Yeah, I definitely hope so too. I really enjoyed this first trilogy of stories that you guys came up with.
I appreciate that, and I think too, because of our spiritual background, and we're really the genre of horror, the genre of sci-fi, but grounded in reality, is one that we're really excited about writing in and developing more projects in. And we have a couple of things that we've been working on, ideas in development now. So you'll definitely see more projects from us within this space. And everything that we do within the space will still be tied down and contextualized by, based on inspired by factual events. We want to use all these things at the end of the day. We believe it's our responsibility through our work to be able to further educate and inform people about what's going on, in a positive way. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that's all for me today.
So I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Mm-hmm.